Good evening, folks. Good evening. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the Stoked podcast. This is late night edition. You know, you know, late night. I am uh, artist, writer, podcaster, publisher, inker, color, letterer, whatever you want to call it. That's who I am. I am Giovanni Stokes, and I am your host tonight for Stoked Podcast, Creative Talk with Creative People. Jamari is not here today, which is a kind of a side effect for it being a late night show. I had dad stuff to do, dad and husband stuff to do. So, it is what it is. But tonight is I'm really looking forward to tonight because we're going to talk about a really good. It's actually going to be a slightly abbreviated show because it is late. And me and my guest have a million things to do, and I want to give us both to do the million things or to just sleep, either one. Uh, so my guest is a previous guest on the show. She is one of the, I believe, co-founders of Laguna Studios, and they have a fantastic Kickstarter going on right now, and she's gonna be on to talk to us. Welcome, the one and only Sarah White.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right. Yes, of course, of course. Now, I know people saw the flyer. If you saw the flyer, you saw that Lori was supposed to be on with us today. Unfortunately, she's not feeling too well. So, we want to send our love out to her and hopefully she gets better. But Sarah is here to, hey, Katie, how are you?
Hey,
Um,
Katie.
Sarah is on tonight, and she's going to talk about this awesome Kickstarter, and we'll even talk some comics for the time we have together. And that just sounded like what's the dude? Um, the I forgot the name of it. I was gonna say Mr. Ed, but that's the horse. Anywho, thank you, Sarah, for coming on for our because I haven't had we haven't actually done the show uh in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
well, yeah, I was at Baltimore the week before, and then this last week I didn't have anybody scheduled, and I didn't realize it until it was too late, and I was preparing for another con, so I was like, "All right, I'll wait." And then I went on Facebook and was like, "Who wants to come on the show?" And then a million people jumped in and said, "Sure."
That
But
is the danger, isn't it? That's the danger of just asking because everybody's got something happening that they want to help promote, that they want your help promoting. It's
yeah, so
it's awesome when you can fit somebody in. It
I
really
know.
is.
So I want to say to everybody who said they want to be on the show, thank you. Give me some time. I have to schedule out all of these. And if it isn't until next year, I apologize because the holidays are coming up. But how are you doing, Sarah? How are you today?
I'm doing good. The weather is being so weird that I keep getting like, it's too hot and it's been hot and then all of a sudden it's like 65 degrees out and so I'm like freezing because I'm so used to it being like 90 degrees. It's
Yep.
other than that though, I think everything's going pretty well.
Yeah, it's like I saw the meme today where the guy was like at 6 a.m. He was wearing a big bubble jacket. At around 11, he was wearing just a long sleeve shirt. At like 1 o'clock, he was in a short sleeve shirt. And then he just slowly started putting more clothes back on as time goes on. Yeah, and
Sounds
it,
about
it's
right.
it's colder. It's definitely jacket weather now.
Mhm.
I'm kind of sad,
I
but
saw somebody post on Facebook earlier today that it's the season where you wear a sweater in the morning and regret it by the afternoon.
and then
It's like,
need it
yep,
again, and
yep,
then
that
need it
sounds right.
immediately. Yeah, I mean, but my favorite time, well, my second favorite time of the year is coming up, so I'm cool with it. I love the time, like literally from the day before Thanksgiving until New Year's Day is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah,
I It's my favorite. It's my second favorite time of the year. I love the summer, but
sure.
that's my
I
second favorite time of the year.
think we're about in the middle of the middle, like getting into my favorite time of year. Here is like it's like Halloween is like my favorite.
Really? Why?
So Well, I mean, I've always liked Halloween because you get to have an excuse as an adult to wear a costume without getting weird looks, and I do like the cool. I prefer the sort of cool but not super cold weather, so this is good weather for me too. And it's usually mostly clear sunny days rather
Hmm.
than then it starts to get icky and rainy and then snowy. But right now we're looking at mostly cool and clear days, which is good for me.
Hey, what's up, Julian? Um, I don't. The reason I like this time of the year is because sports come back.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
for
fair.
me. But I like the Thanksgiving to New because I feel like people are nicer. It's really weird. Plus, like you start to see like family. You got Thanksgiving and Christmas and
Mhm.
families start to come, and it's just a nice feeling. And
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
whole lot of days off.
That's true too. Like that entire week between Christmas and New Year's is like, even if you do have to go to work, you don't really do anything.
Nobody does anything.
No.
Like literally the week before Christmas and the week between Christmas and New Year's, no one does anything.
No.
Like unless it's a like we need this whatever you're doing to live.
Mhm.
Everybody's checked out,
Yep. Yep.
which is cool because then you get like holiday parties.
Yep. And I do like to bake, and I like excuses to bake weird, not weird, but like stuff that making fudge and making cutout cookies and all the sweet stuff that everybody likes to snack on. I
Yep,
do
yep.
like making that stuff. So, and Christmas is like the perfect excuse to do all that. And because normally if you make 10 trays of different sugary sweet treats, people are gonna be like, why
Yeah.
you're gonna get diabetes. But
I don't know
Christmas
how
time,
we
you get a pass.
I don't know how we got here. That's okay. That's all right. That's the beauty of this show. All right. So you've been on the show before at
I
couple
have.
times, right? This is
I think yeah. I think maybe
third,
this is the
right?
third or fourth
This
time.
is third. You
At
might be
least
the first third and you might be the first person to be on the show three times. So,
it's a
you
badge
know,
for me.
um, but so let's get into it. Let's talk about you guys Kickstarter that you got. We're gonna share the screen right here. All right.
Yeah.
It's called Heart Eater,
Heart eater. Yes.
and it is clearly not for children.
No. No. I mean, if we could remove the sexy parts, then it would. Well, still might not be great for kids. It's a little, there's gonna be some hijinks, a little bit of light violence. It's maybe it's for older kids, but that's if you remove the sexy parts, which there's some sexy parts.
Okay, all right. Tell us about. Give us the overview. Give us the elevator pitch for Heart Eater.
Okay, well, so it's about a pirate named Kimona, and she's been without a ship, and she's getting the itch to go back to sea. So she's trying to figure out how to get back to get a ship back and get back out to the sea. And she is in this oceanside town, and she stumbles across a well, he's a prisoner. He's been a prisoner, and he's set to die. They're gonna hang him, and she has this compulsion that she doesn't understand, that she needs to save this guy, and she doesn't know why, but she figures out she works out a plan, and she has a sarcastic raven companion, a talking raven companion named Zephyr. And so she and Zephyr is very disapproving of her decision to help this guy, but he helps her anyway. And and hijinks ensue. So they work on figuring out how to save this guy, and then from there, like the story of those two getting meeting and figuring out what the heck brought them together is that's what the story is.
Okay, all right. What made you guys decide to kind of kind of do it more on like the mature side? What started that?
Well, we have been, Lori in particular, had been helping manage campaigns for Not Safe for Work books for quite a while, actually. And she kept seeing how much better those would do. And so it started out as a just kind of a joke, like we should do a sexy book. We should do that because they make so much more money. And then the more we talked about it, the more we were like, but that's actually, hang on, that sounds kind of fun actually, because our stuff has been well, not, I mean, our stuff is not 100%
Right.
for kids, but it's not in that it doesn't go into that sexy category. It's more not for kids because of the violence.
Right.
And we thought, as a couple of, as some women, we can add the women's, what's it called, the women's view. We're gonna put the for the women, like it's been almost all the work has been done by women, and well, we wrote it. So this is Laurie's brainchild,
Okay.
and Laurie and Katie Rooston and D Fish and I helped Laurie with some of the dialogue, because I don't know if you've ever, I don't know how hard anybody's thought about writing flirty dialogue, but it is so much more difficult than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So we
Because
so
it's
we worked
hard. You
together.
don't want to make it corny.
Exactly, that is the
Yeah.
trap. We must have had probably a good half dozen false starts, because we were just like, oh, how about this? How about that? The guy says this, and then she says this, and it's like, no, that sounds dumb, and we'd have to start all over again.
So to answer your question, Julian, I believe it's who.
Ari Salviejo.
Thank you.
Yes, and amazing art.
Amazing
She
color
did the
too.
pencils, and yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the name of the colorist.
Patty Arroyo.
Patty Arroyo. Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, the colors are. I know we've talked amongst each other. The team and I, we've all talked amongst each other about how that one page, we use that page, is so the where they're flirting together, and it's so warm and inviting, and very romantic. Like if you were trying to get your flirt on with your special person, like wouldn't that be a fun setting with the embers of the fire, and that warm fire bouncing off the brick walls? Like it's a romantic setting.
I mean, honestly, like I'm loving the artwork. I mean, this is high level, high caliber artwork. Speaking from one artist to perspective, this is really great. And I love it. It's very much Pirates of the Caribbean cross with have you ever, do you remember a movie? Um, this is gonna age me. It's called Welcome to Eden. It had Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell in it.
Oh, I know, but now I kind of want to go see it.
It was about like this two cops that had to go like undercover to this place called Eden that was like basically like a sex what do you call it?
Like a brothel situation?
Not a brothel. It was like a getaway, like an all adults resort. It was like an all adults resort.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that's the vibe I get. Like if you took Pirates of the Caribbean and Welcome to Eden, this is very similar.
That's not so far out of the realm of what it is. Yeah.
You can use that. Feel free. Go ahead.
Will do.
Nobody has seen that movie. Nobody under the age of, Morgan says, sign me up. The link is below, people. So if you are interested in supporting,
I think Morgan already backed. I think Morgan was like number 2 on
Morgan
the
has
backer list.
Nothing better to do. He just presses back this project over and over.
We joked about how Morgan, when we realized he didn't make it to number 1, and we were like, he's gonna be so pissed.
You know those little ducks that kind of dip in the water?
Yeah.
You know, and you remember the Simpsons episode where he puts the duck there and it does the work for him? That's just Morgan. That's what Morgan does. The duck just constantly. Morgan said,
Yeah.
"I mean, I back
Yeah,
first
I'm
and
sorry,
second."
Morgan, but I know for fact it wasn't you. It was Daniel Calvin. He was number one.
Ah,
So
okay.
Daniel Calvin gets the first backer award this time.
So,
We changed up. So I don't know if you had seen, because I am pretty sure you haven't won one yet. But we were making little first backer award plaques,
ah,
and we send them out to whoever wins first backer, of course. And Morgan's only gotten one.
he's
And now this will
slipping.
be two for Calvin.
Morgan
He
is
got one
slipping.
once a while back. But nobody beats Brad Arney, who's gotten three.
Well, Brad is independently rich. I don't think. I think he really is. You don't do as many Kickstarters as Brad does without having some serious change in your pocket. He said, "Okay, I hope I don't see him soon because there's gonna be problems."
I'll make sure.
Um,
I'll let him know.
so tell
Stay
us a
away from
little.
Morgan for a while.
I
It's
know.
fine.
So tell us more about Laguna Studios. Like, I know you guys were originally with uh give me the name of the original
Unlikely Hero Studios.
Unlikely
Yeah.
Heroes. But now you've kind of branched off and you're doing this really awesome thing where is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's all projects by women, all of them, or just
Um,
the entire, or just the business is run by women.
it's run by women. We're
Okay.
still like we so a lot of the Unlikely Heroes titles are going to be or have migrated with us. So like Unthinkables is coming with us. Miss Medusa's Monsters Menagerie is with us. The Surgeon, the Sundering. Um, I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Finding D has come with us. So, um, a lot of the titles are with us, and you'll see the new issues be released, and then the old issues re-released under the new imprint whenever we get to the point where we need to print new issues.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, like it's run by women, and largely the projects are have a very heavy hand from women. I mean, like Lori and I are head in the studio, and I mean, you know, I okay, so stuff with the Unthinkables, man. It's coming. It is coming. Like we've been making sure Paul keeps his nose to the grindstone, and we had some hiccups, but hopefully it's gonna be soon.
Well, listen, man. When the fans, when you, it's a good thing to have fans be like, "Hey, hurry the hell up," because that means you're doing something right.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I hate that we have to, because we want to produce them as fast as everybody wants to get them in their hands, and it's just stuff never ever, like there's always something always goes wrong. You know how it is.
I know more than you know about how that goes.
Something always happens.
But so what's the long term view? Like, what are you guys looking for long term for Laguna Studios?
Well, I hope that we can keep building our library, and I hope that we can keep producing more story from the existing titles that we have. We already have plans well into motion to continue making these adult books like Heart Eater, and um, yeah, I think for now we're just gonna keeping on. I guess like we just want to we had so much fun with the Sundering last year. So like we were immediate like we weren't even done with the Sundering, or like we got to do more tabletop books. This is so fun. So we're
Yeah.
gonna do more of those. Like we're just our plan is just keep making more good books as
Oh,
best as we can.
you guys got me over here going. Maybe I need to do some naughty books. I mean, if y'all are crazy, as it seems to, there seems to be a market for it. Me personally, it's kind of, I always felt like it was weird
Hmm.
for those type of books. Like I get like I know like Why the Last Man had some nudity in it, but it wasn't like cheesecakey, like
Hmm.
cheesecake books. But it seems to be something that is kind of making its way back into the consciousness of comics, the
Yeah.
cheesecake books. But it's almost like you're taking cheesecake to the next level, whereas like before it was just a lot of cleavage and thong. Now it's just like
Mm-hmm.
this is HBO
Yeah, yeah.
in the
It's funny.
90s.
That's were on Chat and Draw yesterday, and Mike literally described it as Cinemax for
Hey, listen,
comics. And
you
I was
know,
like, yes, that's exactly what it is. Like, there's definitely going to be some explicit content. I mean, obviously, you saw the naughty versions of the covers. We're
hmm
calling them the spicy versions, and like it's definitely going to have that stuff in it. But we are trying extremely hard to not make it silly or cheesy in any way. Like, absolutely.
awesome, awesome. We
And
have
I definitely think if you have an idea in your head to make something that's classy and sexy, like, you totally should do it. We had
so
a discussion for such a long time about should we do this? Is it appropriate? Yada yada yada. And in the end, it's like, come on. If there's one thing that everybody understands, it's sexy times, right?
so I have my horror book coming out, and it's like there's going to be some of that, but it's a horror thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you got like this conversation really has me going, man. I could really do something really fun like that, and
I
just
think
make
you
sure the
should.
people that go to my church are nowhere near.
I
Uh,
thought about that too. I was like, what's my mom gonna think about this? I'm not sure,
I don't
because
have to worry about that, but
yeah, we
I
had
just you know.
serious conversations about, do we use pen names? Do we use our real names? What should we do? And we ended up just like, come on, we're adults. We're all adults here. Let's just be grown-ups about this. We can be mature about sexy times.
Because it's funny, I had somebody from my church. This happened a while ago. I remember I have like damn, the word damn in the book, and they literally like talked to me about it, and they were like,
Oh
"Well,
no.
you've got a curse word in here," and I'm like, "What? Where?" And he's like, "He says damn." I'm like, "You serious?" And so I got to keep whatever book. Like, listen, don't worry about this book. This book doesn't exist for you guys. We have a serious
Fair.
question. We have a serious question.
Okay.
Serious question, and not to be provocative, as I am 100% for the success of the company. As women who no doubt deal with sexism in real life, how did you go about doing a book that, from what I can see from the previous feature, is stereotypically hold on hypersexual features stereotypically hypersexualized women? Is it deliberate and done as satire of the depiction of women in the medium, or is it done to gain an audience? Which there is nothing wrong with that either. It's a lot.
Um, if you're asking me here, I think that the difference here is not Kimona, the main character, she is being depicted in a very provocative fashion. However, when you read the comic, you will see she chooses this. She is proud of her sexuality, and she's owning it. So the difference between that and the stereotypically hypersexualized stuff is that she's choosing this. And the character and women are writing her, and so like she, through us, she is choosing that. And this is what she's not on display against her will. She everything that she does that happens to her, those are her choices, and she has agency in a way that maybe, that a lot of times sexual situations with women just don't have. And so that's, yeah,
I
good
would
question, by the way.
I would probably say in a lot of times, you know, you see when men do it, there's a little bit of like de- like there's a degrading aspect to it sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
um, that you guys can kind of avoid because I'm assuming you guys would be avoiding because you've seen so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I can totally see how there's a difference between this is what I want to do as opposed to this is what someone's doing to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember that? What's the name of the artist? Milo something. I can't remember the name, but he did the cover of Spider Woman, and she was like bent over, and like Like,
Oh yeah, like her backbone was broken, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was a completely unnatural
right.
position. Yeah, yeah.
And like the
I
artist is a phenomenal artist, but clearly there's a level of like, that's a bit degrading. It could be considered
yeah,
degrading.
wish that we had Gumby spines like that. No.
But that is a great question. That's a great question. And he
It is.
actually asked the question that I was going to ask, and I appreciate that. I love when my audience does my job for me. It makes my job so much easier.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think that just being written by women is a good start, but it's not enough. Like if we write it for the male gaze, like 100%, just like what will a man want to see when he reads this comic, then that's still then we're falling into the same trap. But we were writing this with like what do we want to see, and how can we make this something that is something that we want to see in an erotic comic, but that we can trust that everybody who looks at it is going to find enjoyable and exciting and pleasing to the eye. Like we want everybody to enjoy it, and if we do, if we write it from the male gaze, if it's been written from the male gaze, that's oftentimes not going to happen. I'm not. I'm not gonna say that all, not hashtag all men. Like it's not like that, because I know that there are plenty of men who are able to write women in a very like I keep thinking about as is it Guillermo del Toro, the Shape of
oh,
Water guy? Yeah, like
yes,
he
yes.
often does situations. He often does his movies where like his characters that would in some other situation might not have agency. He writes them with agency. So like I think he is an example of a man who does a really good job giving his characters agency, and he's not just writing his women to be the girlfriend of the main character or just there to be sex candy. He writes them with their own personalities and their own backstories, and that's something that we're trying to do. Like, I mean, just for example, the main character in this book is a woman. It's not a man, which is most of our, I guess, when you were talking about erotic comics, most of the main characters tend to be women, but they're very often written for the male gaze, and we're trying to write it for the human gaze, I guess.
Well, and it's one of the things that when I did my character strong, it's one of the things that I was trying to avoid every stereotype that men fall into when writing women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you don't realize it until like you purposely are looking for it. Um, Hold on, the Hernandez brothers were brilliant with doing that. Yes, yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
were. Facebook user says, I hope she has better luck to me. I've been trying to hypersexualize myself for the last couple of years, and it hasn't worked out well for me. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, tell us who you are, Facebook
Who
user.
is Facebook user? If
Restream is just so temperamental with Facebook,
it
isn't
really
it?
is, it really is. If that's Danny, I'm going to be really pissed. I'm just letting you guys know right now. I'm barring him from the show if that's Danny. Uh, but yeah, it's really. Oh, Terry Pratchett is also a man who writes women well. Okay,
Agreed. Terry Pratchett writes humans well. I mean,
it's
awesome.
Brad.
It's Brad.
Brad, you support so many books. I can never bar you, man. Uh, but yeah, like I know for myself when I was writing my female superhero, I literally made like rules for myself. Like my first rule was the protagonist and the antagonist have to be women. Uh, a man can't save the day, and the women need to sound like women, not like men writing what they think women sound like, which was really
Mm-hmm.
difficult to do because it required me a lot of times to like write a line, and I would literally ask a friend or somebody, would you say this? And they would be like, no.
Conversation. Like I think we talked about this the last
Yeah.
time we were on the
Yep.
show.
Yep.
It was, and then we were both Lori and I both were saying it was, we thought that yours was very thoughtful and that you did a good job with it.
And I appreciate, and I've been getting, Tom King does it very well. Yeah. And I've gotten some people, but it also like, it's like, okay, I did it right this one time. How do I not screw it up anymore? like, you know, you don't want to fall into old habits. So
Yeah,
I
well, I
can,
think asking the opinion of women for your dialogue is a great idea. That's a great,
yeah,
yeah, and female editor also great. That's like the editor. Oh man, the editor, it doesn't seem like an important job, but it is so important. We
yeah.
have, because Laurie made a conscious choice to make the main character of our of Heart Eater a person of color,
Hmm.
and so it was really important to her to get people of color to be working on the book. And we also Brian Lambert is actually our editor for this, and
Brian's awesome.
so yeah, he's great at it too. He's great. And so we were he's been consulted many times for this. And like it's important, like, and we're showing it to people to make sure that we are not screwing this up,
Awesome.
because obviously, like, Lori and I are women, we've got that part down, but we are both white, and we do not want to. If we are making a conscious decision to create this non-white character, we definitely do not want to mess it up and make any, make any. Um, we don't want to throw any stereotypes on her. We don't want to. We don't want to mess it up.
No, I get it. I totally understand it. One of the things that I appreciate about modern comics. Um, what's up, Facebook user? I have no idea who you are. Hey, 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 back at you. One of the things I appreciate about modern comics, and there's a lot of conversation about diversity within comics, and we've had it on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people want better diversity, more diversity, but and it maybe it's a byproduct of doing so many cons this year. I don't think comics has ever been more diverse than it is now. The
Oh, agreed for sure.
the only thing what when people say that comics aren't diverse, in my opinion, they're not talking about comics. They're talking about Marvel and DC.
Yep. They're not talking about us. They're not
Right.
talking about indie comics.
Yeah, like if you're looking for diverse comics and you can't find them, you're not looking well enough.
Yeah, you're not looking in the
Um,
right places for
right.
sure.
And you know, a lot of those same people will walk right by people at Comic Cons, and then go online and complain that, you know, there's
Mm-hmm.
not enough black characters in comics, but I do appreciate seeing more black people in comics, more women in comics. What I love seeing is black women like reading comics. Like that's like a
Absolutely.
big deal for me because it's not it's not something that I know most of my female friends, my African American female friends, don't really read comics. Hold on. Are they talking about the titles or are they talking about the creative though? I think it's both. I
Both,
think
yeah.
it's absolutely both.
I mean, I've
There
gotten just doing cons, like you were saying, I've gotten a lot of sexism from there. Like, I couldn't possibly know about comics, or like there were people who would question my knowledge of the comics that I was selling because I'm a woman. It's not so much lately. Like, thankfully, it hasn't happened in a while, so that's good. But like, it's the diversity in the both the people making the comics and the comics themselves, I think, is important, and that we are seeing more of it, and we should continue to see more of it. I feel like we'll have seen enough of it, or like we'll have reached
excuse me.
peak diversity when nobody asks these questions anymore. That's when we'll have fixed the problem completely.
I don't think the problem's ever going to be fixed, but you know,
Mm.
I do think it's funny though. Like when I do cons and I see, you know, like like a couple will come over to the table, and when I was first doing it, I would always address the guy, like be like, "Well, what kind of comics you like, man?" Because I just assumed that she probably wasn't reading comics.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as time is going on, now I'm like, "Who's the comic book reader?" And
Mm-hmm.
I'm always happy when it's like, oh, I'm, you know, the man go like there was a this past weekend, you know, it was a couple and the guy was like, yeah, I don't read comics. This is her. This is all her. And I'm like, awesome, because and then I'll, you know, I can talk with her and you know, but you know, I personally try to do to advocate for women to get into comics. Like, you know, even when I'm selling, like I'm like, well, what do you like to read? And or what do you like to watch on TV? And I'll be like, well, I have probably made more fans of Why the Last Man than Vaughn himself. Because I always that, like, to me, that's the easiest, like, uh gateway, in my opinion, for women to get into comics. If it sounds weird.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
You know, like, and I'm sure, you guys might tell me wrong, but I think a book where every guy dies except for one and all the women are running, that sounds like something
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good one.
well,
Um,
so that's a great place. What would you tell women to read outside of your books? Like, which books would you say, you want to get into comics, read this?
oh, I like the comics that don't, like, it doesn't matter. The person's gender doesn't matter. I remember feeling that about The Walking Dead. Like when I started reading the very first ones, I was like, it didn't matter if you were there were not they were not separated from men from women. There was sexism. There is sexism in there, but it's different somehow, and like it becomes, because when you're in a survival situation like that, it's less important. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or non-binary or what. It doesn't matter. What
Okay.
matters is, are you still alive? That's the most important thing. And are you going to be one of those a-holes that's going to try and eat other living people, or are you going to be one of those ones that bands together and tries to make a civilization and make an insular group that can take care of one another?
Walking Dead is a great book. I've got the first 16 trades I'm looking at right now. Like the first
Oh,
16. I
I
stopped
didn't get to
after a
finish
while.
them yet, but I hope to. And I need to go. I bet they have them at the library. I should just go check them out at the
Yeah,
library
you
and just have a
probably do.
weekend. And yeah, and like I
That's a
also.
long weekend.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it'll be a while. I also like comics. Like have you read any of the Last Airbender, the Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novels at all?
You know, again, everybody's been trying to get me into anime,
Mm-hmm.
and manga, and I either don't have the time to do it or it just doesn't connect with me.
That's fair.
Like,
But
I've flipped through some and I'm like, I don't see what is so great about this. And
sure.
it's not that it's bad, but like the people who read manga are so for it. Like, it's so much better than American comics. And I'm like, this is the same thing. This is just like X-Men. Like, what is this? Like, what are we
Yeah,
raving about here?
yeah, I can see that. Um, Avatar: The Last Airbender is made for a slightly younger audience. Both the comics and the show made for a slightly younger audience, but they took pains to both um to represent women as being as powerful as men. And when because there's Katara is like the main female character in the story, and in the very first season she encounters sexism, and she makes sure to like when she encounters it, she fights until she gets equal rights. So that's like she just wants to be treated the same as everybody else,
Okay.
and she's not asking for, like there's so many people out there that conflate asking for special privileges to asking for equal rights, and it's no, she's never asked for to be treated special. She only asks to be treated with the same respect that you treat a male waterbender. And that's all she wants. The situation that she encounters in book 1 is that she wants to be trained by the master waterbender, and he says, no, we don't train women. You got to go learn healing if you want to be a female waterbender. But she fights until she gets to be trained like all the others. And
Okay.
I would say that she arguably ends up, because of that sexism, it sucked that she had to be treated that way in the first place, but because she fought, she learned both the healing, the waterbender healing, and the waterbender fighting, which why weren't they teaching all of the waterbenders that? You know, like it makes you think like, why don't they teach the boy waterbenders healing
Okay.
too? And so it's when they encounter sexism, I think that the characters encounter sexism a few times in the story, and they handle it pretty well, I think. You know, in the story, like that's the kind of stuff that I like to see when I talk about getting people to see diversity, particularly from a sexist standpoint. You know, like it's more about sexism for me because, let's be honest, I've never had trouble seeing representation for my skin color. It's like I'm the default skin color, so uh,
Okay.
it's and we need it to not be that way anymore.
Got
You know,
it.
like and I love it for I would love it for it not to matter. Skin color, gender, I would love that all to not matter. But until then, we have books like The Walking Dead where it doesn't matter, and we have books like we have Last Man Standing. We have stories like that. We have stories like Avatar. We have stories like The Walking Dead. We have God, I know I'm forgetting some. Like
I know
whenever I
there's
get
a
put on the
lot.
spot, there's so many of them though.
So Julian says, I'm going to sum this up because it's a lot. Um, his point of contention is that minority characters are always written by white writers or drawn by white artists. It's always touchy because good writers and illustrators should be free to write and draw whomever they choose and not fall into restrictive boxes. But I guess the real issue has to be with the sincerity and honesty. And that, that's what we're talking about, Julian,
Hmm.
about, you know, that's what, Sarah made the point about, they have a character of color. So they actually talk to people of color to make sure the authenticity is there. Um, it's like for me, if I were to write somebody from the LGBTQ community, I would probably run that script by somebody from the LGBTQ community, so it is authentic and it's not um it's not degrading or stereotypical, because it's really easy to fall into stereotypes when
Hmm.
you're writing for any nationality, gender, or whatever. So, but yeah, we appreciate you, Julian. I appreciate the back and forth. Katie says, I know one of my female friends really got into the Wolf Among Us comics. I've only played the game version, but it was great. I don't even know what the Wolf
I'll
Among Us
have to
is.
look
We'll
that
have
up.
to
Yeah,
look
I
that
haven't
up.
heard of
Yeah.
that one.
When you start talking video games, I glass over. Not that I don't like video games, I just don't get a chance to play them. Um, if I
That's
get,
fair.
yeah,
It takes time.
yeah, every time I pick up a controller, I'm like, I got a page to draw or I got a script to finish.
That's just your brain being mean to you because you deserve to have fun too.
Well, for me it's sports. Like but
Yeah, there you
the
go.
problem though with sports is I can still work while doing watching sports.
Oh yeah, so you're
So
never
there's
fully relaxing, are you?
it maybe on that's why what I try to do is like Sunday, that's football day. So I will
Mm-hmm.
leave the house and go to like Buffalo Wild Wings and
Sure.
watch the games. I have to get out the house because if I stay in the house, I'm going to whip open my laptop and I'm going to do
Yeah,
some work while I'm watching the game, or
that's
I'm going to
fair.
sit behind my drawing table and do some work. Um,
That's fair.
yeah, so that's I would love to be able to play more video games, but I have this block, this mental block. The only way I'd be able to play video games is if I went to somebody's house.
That's fair. Yeah, it is. It's difficult to get into stuff when you have so much else to do.
And COVID has kind of jacked that up because we all don't go to each other's houses as much as we used to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, I think that I mean, I definitely see Julian's point on that too, and um, I think that there's not enough um well, so I this is gonna sound really bad. I can't we can't find artists of color. We that want to work with us. It's not or we struggle to find them. That's because we absolutely if someone comes to us and they want like we're gonna look at the quality of their work and it's only going to be it's like it's very important But if there's a person of color that comes and says, I want to draw a comic, I want to draw a comic for you, and we are all about giving them that chance. So, but I do think that it's been a struggle to find, and maybe that goes down to there not being enough opportunities for like kids in, uh, I guess. I mean, I don't really have a lot of experience with underserved communities and things because I grew up on a farm and like the
Well,
town, and so like, but
I
there
would
wasn't
say
enough
it's harder.
opportunity.
It's definitely harder. It's been harder for me. I was looking for a black woman to draw strong,
Hmm.
and it took forever. Like I kind of stumbled upon one, and now I'm working with her. I'm going to be working with her,
That's
and
great.
I don't even put her name out there because I don't want somebody to steal it. I
Awful.
literally
We all do that too, don't
yeah, I
we?
will literally not put her name out until the book is done, and then people will know about her, and then I'll probably lose her. Uh, but I think it is harder to. It's been harder to find it, and I just don't know if the I can't speak for why there's that lack of you know people of color getting into comics, and I think it might just be because comics is niche as it is.
Hmm.
So many artists might not even know that they're good at doing comics until they try to do comics.
Very fair. Um, yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's if if you know anybody who wants like this, you can come to Javon, come to me, go to any of our indie friends. Like we are all about, we want to give those opportunities to people, but we got to find them first. We got to find these artists because
Absolutely.
I know there's some amazing artists out there, and I would love, we would love to hire you
Awesome.
if you want to be hired by us. Like you got to get in touch with us, and then because it is you were just talking about how you were looking for an artist for ages. Like it is so hard finding an artist
But
that
like
fits
I
your
said,
needs.
it
Oh.
really is. I think people who I think if you're somebody of color, you either already picked up by somebody or you're doing your own thing.
Hmm.
Or you're using art in different avenues that aren't comics
Right.
because you probably never got the door open for you. And so, you know, again, I'm hoping that we get more, but we'll see. So I want to give you one more opportunity to tell people about Heart Eater to as we wind down this conversation.
Hmm.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
The link is below.
Yeah. It's a sexy pirate adventure, and it's and there's some magic in it, so it's a fantasy thing. About a beautiful, strong pirate who is finds herself caught up in a a very sexy, adventurous situation with a man who she doesn't understand why she's drawn to him, and hijinks ensue, and some of those hijinks are sexy. And this is the first in a series. Laurie's got stuff plotted out. She's got ideas. So this will go on for as long as y'all keep supporting us.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, the link is below. Everybody, this is your opportunity. It's 18 days to go, but we don't want to wait for 18 days. They're already over the goal, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I
Mm-mm.
don't know if this is gonna,
We
this is
reached
gonna make it.
a stretch goal already.
Sheesh.
We're giving every physical backer a metal bookmark. I think it's down just below the thumbnail there. So, yep, there. I just saw it for a second there. um,
Too
a
far?
metal
Where is it?
bookmark. It's just above or just below the thumbnail. And then our next
Uh,
stretch goal is going to be a T-shirt add-on. Oh, there it was.
is this okay?
Yep,
Is
there
this
it
it?
is. Yeah, the
Okay.
yep, her and her crow, and
Okay.
or raven. It's a raven. He's a raven. And yep. So everybody who backed at a physical level is getting a bookmark. So if you want the metal bookmark, which I don't know if you all have seen a metal book, have any metal bookmarks, but they're really cool. I don't even use mine as a bookmark, but it's just really cool. um,
Awesome.
and our next stretch goal is at 10K, which we're close to now. We're over halfway to it from the eight. Our first stretch goal was 8,000, and now we're past the 9,000 mark and nearing the 10,000 mark. So then we're gonna have the t-shirt add-on unlock, so you can add a t-shirt. And then we got some mini prints. If you didn't watch Chat and Draw yesterday, then you don't know what all the prints are going. One of the mini prints is going to look like. But if you want to go back and watch that, you'll see Mike Watson killed it as usual. It is a gorgeous piece, and Veronica Smith's gonna color it for us. And we're making some decisions on what other mini prints we can do and what other stretch goals we can do, because it looks like we might hit another one yet after we hit, because after 10K we'll have another stretch at 15, and if we hit that one, then we're gonna have to come up with more ideas for you guys. So if you have any ideas about what you'd like to see for a stretch goal, let us know, because we will definitely listen to you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Julian. We appreciated the dialogue. Thank you, Sarah, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no problem. And once again, I hope Lori feels better. And I have to bring her on to make up for us at some point, maybe in 2024.
Well, like I think I mentioned already, we have another erotic comic.
Always have one though. Another Kickstarter coming.
Yeah, there's always another Kickstarter happening, but we do have another sexy book coming up, and I wrote that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me know. And
see, Lori's really good at corrupting people. She's corrupting us all.
We appreciate the corruption.
We're all just a bunch of maniacs now.
Thank you once again, everybody. Go to go.lagunastudios.net. Take you right to the Kickstarter where you can support Get Heart Eater. I'm going to do it as soon as we get off. I wasn't going to do it online because I don't need y'all seeing my information. But thank you guys once again for this late night episode of a Stoked podcast. Next week, we should be back at the 8 p.m. Spot. Who's the guest next week? Where are we? Jamar Nicholas is the guest next week. So I'm looking forward to that one. It should be great. Thank you guys once again for stopping by another episode of Stoked Podcast, Creative Talk with Creative People. You guys have a great evening and a great weekend, and see you next week.